Let the robot Darth Haster commence.
You are in the zone. We will take all prisoners. Tropes with Adega. Here we go.
I dig that intro.
I like that intro. How you doing tonight, Adega? How is everybody doing tonight? Woo! Man, that intro. Love that thing. So
Thanks for the invite. What are we doing tonight?
Oh, character tropes and all kinds of other writing gimmicks. That's what the title is, but let's see. What are your according to tropes? Tropes are usually, like you said backstage, are usually attributed to other things, like have like a bad connotation to them.
Yeah, my wife asked me the other night because I told her I was going to do this and about tropes, and she'd never heard the phrase before. And it's kind of, unless you're deep into the writing community, it's not anything that's really used that much. But there's always the cop who lives by his own rules, or the lawyer who breaks the law to keep the law, or the lone doctor who always does the unconventional to get the patient better. It's just what people have gotten used to.
Yeah, there's always like, for example, the heroes. There's usually some in certain instances and cases. Like I've always noticed, there's always there, like you mentioned earlier, that there's always that one guy that is just there just for comedic relief. There's always that one guy or
Right.
girl. It doesn't have to always be a guy.
Right. I will write them in as long as they're written well. But my writing, when I do it, it's to point people that I've met in reality, their personalities put on page. But I really don't have a hard time with tropes, and some people do. I have known people that get upset when a writer, and it's just any writer, it doesn't have to be me. Well, you go to Amazon right now, and unless you're in an established medium with a big name, you write anything about children getting abused or about rape or something like that, they're going to have a real hard time making sure that your writings gets visible. They don't like to put it out. Like I said, unless you have a big name. If Stephen King did it, they wouldn't care. But everyone else, these things that they call tropes, especially when it comes to things they don't want to hear about, they're gonna censor them, pull them away.
Okay, maybe we should give an example. Okay, how about let's go with Star Wars. Luke Skywalker, for example. What kind of hero trope would you put him as?
Well, the hero journey altogether would be considered a trope, not just necessarily Luke Skywalker. The unsuspecting hero, or
The
the
unsung hero is what
not
I
necessarily unsung, but the unsuspecting. I mean, he's a farm boy who comes from nowhere. It's Superman. Farm boy comes from, well, he came from somewhere, and same with Luke. But they're very, very similar. They grew up wanting to be great. Their ways of coming about it, they both have to have a mentor. Superman has both his fathers, plural, and his mom to some degree. You have to get into the old stuff to get more of the mother story.
but I hate to interject, but it's Tatooine. But
Moisture
according to the
farmers,
Star Wars galaxy, the Tatooine might as well be nowhere.
right? But it was moisture farms, yeah. And his history has to deal with his father, and Superman has to deal with his family's world. They're right. You can go to. There's a lot of them like that, but then you have others that are, again, unsuspecting heroes. They're put in a circumstance, whatever, and the greatness is pulled out of them. You look at a lot of us like to go to Ripley from Aliens. We were talking about Aliens just briefly before,
Yeah.
where she was just a mid to high level crewman on a ship who had to show her stuff when push came to shove. Adama in the most recent Battlestar Galactica remake, he was just an average captain who ended up saving humanity.
He wasn't always an admiral. He earned that.
Yeah, I said captain, but yeah, he became an admiral, yeah. So, but in real life, when you find these type of heroes that have happened in the past, it all seems very, very, very similar.
Come on.
But it's not because it's a trope. It's because the circumstance weeds out those who will stand up and those who don't. Just because we're writing about the one who stands out doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. It doesn't make it a trope, or doesn't make it, this formula that people are following, a hero's journey. All it does is point to how anyone who has it within him shows that light that's inside that can stand up and become something better. So when it comes to, tropes, specific qualities, as they say, whether it be the rapist, whether it be the murderer, whether it be the arrogant professor or the rebel cop, it's just the same type of circumstance will pull that out of anybody that has the same type of personality. We know the personality types.
What about your book? What about May? Or are you allowed to talk about that?
No, I could talk about it.
I didn't know if you were allowed to talk about it. That's why.
I can as much as I want.
Okay.
I don't. It's. I can talk about it. It's fine. What I can't talk about is what the publishing company, what processes they're going through, how it operates behind the lines. Yeah, those type of things I can't talk about. Dates, those type of things, until they become publicly known. I have to keep those under my hat. See, like right now, I have the cover for the Blood Witch. It's done. It's ready to roll. But
nice.
Until they have it ready to release on the website and make it known that, hey, here's one of the books that's going to be coming out, I can't show it to anybody. The character of May, though, is based on someone who I will never mention, and it's also the same person who does my inspiration for Veronica in The Blood Witch. They're both decent, innocent kids who stand up and become something incredible. And I hear some of the people that read it, they think that Edric is the main protagonist, but
no,
there's two of them. In the first book, actually four, but when it comes to the entire universe that I've created, he is equal with May. We'll put it that way. I think when you're talking about tropes with her and the hero's journey, she was one who was forced into it. And she was forced into it because of the abuse, the evil, her eyes being opened up to see the universe around her, as well as what she was being presented. And she's a very slow progression. Most of these people who develop and have their light shine, so to speak, it happens within a few years. It takes her 300 years, over 300 years, about 300 years, maybe a little less. For her to get real serious is about 285 years. And she goes through a lot of crap. But it's one of those ones where she didn't know any better until little by little things started clicking and having a little bit of outside influence. So what else do you want to know about her? I mean, like I said, it's one where put in a circumstance, she's able to see her world through one paradigm. And when she starts seeing that there are other paradigms around there, that's when her eyes open more and more. Because not all the times we're presented with paradigms where things are accurate. A lot of kids, they grow up with abusive parents and they think, this is the way it is. You beat your kids, dad comes home drunk, mom's distant. And then they come out into the real world and they say, wait, there's actually families that get along. There's dads that play with their kids. They don't have to drink all the time. It's a paradigm shift. And the ones that are heroes in that regard are the ones where they have children and they don't continue the abuse, saying, I'm never going to be like my parents, and yet they end up being like them. But it's the ones that I'm never going to be like my parents, and they aren't. And they can find the balance between going too far one direction. That's the whole thing and we got V here, she'll attest to it, where we had the greatest generation, went through all the struggles of the Depression and the wars, hunger, and when things started getting good, they decided we're never going to have our kids have to face that again. And they went too far the other way. And an awful lot of the boomer generation are spoiled brats. That's why my generation, Gen X, we saw what was going on, and for the most part, we said, just screw it. We're just going to go out and do our own thing. We're kind of screwed in the head now, but
what happened?
What with V?
Yeah, probably just popped out. Probably phone died.
But it's that thing. It's where you're presented with the different paradigms. Which one do you choose? Do you choose the one that makes your environment better, makes you better, or do you choose the one that gives you instant gratification or gives you fulfillment of some type of need of revenge or hate? So I think for when it comes to people with paradigms, or people with tropes, they have to good ones, because like I said, I don't care about tropes. If it's good, great. If it's bad, then it makes the trope argument that all tropes are bad seem more real. Um, yeah.
Right?
So when a person is presented with those paradigms, that's the hero's journey, is figuring out what the good paradigm is and accepting it.
You're absolutely right.
No, I try to be. Otherwise, I'm just full of crap.
No, you're absolutely right. Um, being borderline boomer X, because I was born in '62. Um, yeah, spoiled brat. I was, but I didn't want my kid to be spoiled. So I basically taught him um, everything what not to do. And he's pretty well adjusted, but I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. And what happened was my mom, being born in 1920, which was a builder, yeah, went through the depression, gave me everything. But see, I had a really bad upbringing. I had a lot of trauma in my life, and I didn't want my kid to have a lot of trauma. But it's just so weird how, when you're talking about the parallels and stuff, it's true. And a lot of the boomers, especially the ones younger than me, are, I mean, I thought I was a mess, and they're friggin' more of a mess. So, but Adega, you nailed it. You really did. You nailed it. I didn't hear what you said after boomers and being spoiled. And see, a lot of them won't admit it. I can admit it. Um, and trying to change that mental um, place. That's why I wrote. That's why I started writing, because I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to. Um, yeah, I just didn't want to be like that. I thought different. I was different.
Well, the problem with my generation, Gen X, we're the ones who are responsible for the boomers. Or not the boomers, the millennials.
Hmm.
We were so independent, so hands off, so um, independently and self motivated that when it came to the majority of the children, it was hands off. Why put limits on you, kid? Go out and do it. But when you weren't, at least for my generation, weren't parenting, someone else did. The college professors, the school teachers, the textbooks that told you that you were entitled to this. Everyone gets a trophy. Your parents don't concern or aren't cared about you. We'll care about you because you're special. Here's your puppy. That was our fault.
That's strange, because I had my kid at 32. So he was born in 1992. He's a millennial, but he's not.
No, not all of them are, but it's just a general
But
rule
it's
for the
weird. Yeah,
X's, what we've done.
yeah, but it was true. It's just like, what do you mean you're having a a party because you showed up to school? No.
I'm going to pick on you, V. You must be on something good from the hospital because your speech is pretty slurred at times.
No, I've got my headphones on. I can't, and I'm trying to talk through his microphone, and I'm hearing myself through the headphones. Is that better?
Yeah. Now you're talking up to
Okay,
normal speed.
okay. Because he's got. If you took your headphones off, then I could hear, and I
I was
wouldn't have
thinking,
to.
I go through the.
I
Oh,
was thinking you were on morphine.
Yeah, because I was like listening to myself through the headphones, and I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on?" I wish I had some good stuff from the hospital. And actually, I feel better than I have in friggin' months.
Well,
Yeah.
good.
So, anyways, yeah. Um, so to get on with it, they did. They took so much interest in my kid. I'm like, no, I'm the parent.
Right.
And then with the bullying and stuff and this and that, they called me up one day and said, your son has threatened to blow up the school, and we're gonna get him for terroristic threatening and all this stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? He was walking down the hall and he mentioned something about Columbine, and one of the girls that liked him and he didn't like her went and ran and told the teachers or told the principal that Stephen was talking about shooting up the school. Oh, I'm sorry. My son was talking about, whoops, shooting up the school like Columbine. I'm like, are you serious? Now, my kid was floored because he was a 4.7 honor roll kid with his eyes set on going to college. He worked hard. He was not ever entitled to anything. That kid worked for every friggin' thing that he got in life. And other kids didn't understand. And other parents were like, these soccer moms and, oh, well, like when we were in Cub Scouts. Oh, the moms wanted to take over. I'm like, no, I'm the leader. I'm the leader and I'm gonna take over. That's my job. But I had difficulty. I had a lot of difficulty um, in that era. And I never got it until lately, until about 3 weeks ago, when a Gen X said to me, "We're responsible for the millenniums," or that word I cannot say properly. Um,
Yeah, it's our
so,
fault.
and then you just said it now,
Yeah.
so that's really.
No, my kids are good, but there was an awful lot of us, and I know kids I grew up with, the ones that were good ended up being good parents, and the other ones, well, I grew up in an area where we had middle class and we had extremely wealthy people,
Mhm.
and all of them. I shouldn't say all of them, but an awful lot of them were ones where I know when they became parents, they were, uh, yeah, I'm busy with my job, kid. Go do this. A lot of my friends that were girls, I'm not going to say girlfriends. Um, I won't bring them up. A lot of my friends, they became professionals. They went to some big time lawyers, doctors, dentists. All the stuff that they say that you should have done, and their husbands or the wives were the same way. All of them were very, very professionals. Here, kid, here's a TV. No one's at home for them, but you can go to school. This is where you're going to get your education. And they got their education, just not the one that is good for society.
Ooh. Mm. And me
My
too.
my
When
personally
I
with
grew
my
up,
kids, if they were in school and they
middle class or extremely wealthy. Glendale, Glendale.
yep, I was in
Hmm.
Huntington Harbor. That should tell you.
Oh yeah.
One of my friends, her dad was Vern Curtis at the time. This is back in the late '80s. He was listed in the one of the top 10 richest in the United States every year. He owned, and you're from Glendale, so you'll know Denny's once upon a time
Hmm.
when the franchise was tighter. He owned that. El Pollo Loco, um, Winchell's Donuts. So he had a ton of money. And his daughter, I remember one time I was at her house and then we were going to get in her car and it was an old beater. And I said, well, what's with this car? And she goes, well, it's what I earned. That's what do you mean? Because I figured her dad, like a lot of the other kids that were rich in that area, I wasn't one of them. I got along with everybody. He goes, well, if I wanted a car, he told me I had to go out and get a job and earn it. And I thought, bless him. Because another friend of mine, I was at in a parking lot, and car all by itself, and my friend, she was in there bawling her head off. I went in, looked in the sunroof. It was a brand new, one of those 2-seater Mercedes convertibles. You remember those from the 80s. She was just bawling her head off behind the wheel. And I looked in, and I said, through the sunroof, and I go, what's the matter? And she goes, it's my birthday. And I said, oh, happy birthday, but why are you crying? She goes, my dad got me the wrong color car. At the time, $60,000 vehicle, which, you could think of a 2-seater Mercedes. Now you're talking $120,000. And she's bawling her head off because it was a stylish type of brown green for the time, and she wanted something blue or pink, or I can't remember what it was. And I thought, you ingrateful little. Anyway, that's a big shift from talking about tropes and people and tropes.
Yeah. I was about to say, it's not a Haster show unless it goes semi off the rails. But I always like one of my favorite hero tropes is probably the fish out of water reluctant hero.
Right. And I went briefly and looked at chat, and I saw Sci-Fi in there. Hey, Sci-Fi, still owe you. You got to let me know when. So there are those, but there's also those that are, and that tends to be my favorite too. The ones who don't know they're going to be the hero that end up being the hero. Blood Witch is kind of like that.
Or the ones that don't want to be the hero just end up being the hero anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Don't see a lot of those. Or there's also the ones that were born to be heroes. They were put in military at the very beginning of their life. They were born of royalty and given the sword and armor before they could, count to 10.
There's always, and then there's one of my favorites, the hero, the guy who thinks he's a hero but actually turns out to be the villain.
Yeah.
I like the villain who turns out to be the hero, and I'm definitely a reluctant hero type fan.
Yeah, that would be like a villain turned hero. That would definitely fit like a reluctant hero type archetype.
And Vader fits all of them.
Basically,
goes from one end to the other.
That is basically Darth Vader in a nutshell.
Yes, I love Darth Vader.
When he goes through, well, you guys know his whole thing.
I always felt bad for the villains. Even growing up, being so close to Disneyland, going to Disneyland constantly, I always felt bad for like the witch and Sleeping, Snow White. The evil stepmother. Well, not so much the evil stepmother. I didn't like the evil stepmother and stepsisters and Cinderella, but I always felt bad for the villains. I always felt like they were misunderstood. I don't know. And that's why I write the way I write, I guess.
Well, that was a thing that Darth and I were talking about beforehand too, is there is thing about an awful lot of the villains, where the average everyday person or even the extraordinary person, when you think of what would be normal for a set of circumstances, they don't see it that way. We can't reason the same way an awful lot of them think. That's what turns them into a villain, where they think they're doing right, but for actuality, it's very wrong, or could be very evil, could be very hurtful. But their twisted sense of reality, their way of seeing things, is so far from the norm that they cannot be understood by us. And I know what you're saying when you feel bad for them, but even that act of having empathy for the misunderstood villain, an awful lot of them, even the real ones, will look at that as a sign of weakness to be exploited out of you. Something to be hated or something to be killed. So it just depends. Those are the type of things that, like I said, in real life and also in fiction, you can't say it for all of them because it's not true for all of them. But they would see that as a weakness to be exploited. You would become a good pawn. You are someone that could be played. And they know how to use your emotions against you because that's what they've been doing their whole life. You're a tool because you have those emotions. Like I said, it's not all of them, but an awful lot of them. You think of the warmongers of the past, that's exactly what they did. You think of the warmongers and the politicians now, they're doing the exact same thing. The sympathy should be kept in reserve. Doesn't mean you don't have those feelings. It just means that you have to be very judicious about how you express those things, especially around people that you know that have tendencies to be deviant or contrary to what established norms, established sense of decency or morality are, because they don't have the morals. They don't have the same mental aspirations or understanding of the universe as the rest of us.
That's a good point.
Very well put.
I wasn't trying to say you're wrong. I was just trying to say be careful.
No. No, we were just agreeing with you. That's a good point.
Well, that's again one of those tropes things that you brought up, and I've seen this an awful lot, especially in the writing communities that I'm starting to see more and more of, where the people there are analyzing the villains and having that sense of sympathy, or these people were misunderstood, and that's the whole reason why they were bad. No, it's not. It's because
like the whole Maleficent reboot.
Yes. The simple fact that you can cause pain to someone else means that you have deviated from what is decent.
I didn't care too much for it, even though it had Angelina Jolie in it, and I loves me some Angelina Jolie.
Well, there are the instances where there's things like war, where people have to, for the defense of your freedoms, your religions, your family, those type of things.
Yeah, God and country, hoorah!
Right, right. But when the little things, real little things, where something in a lunch line where something spills, someone else could pick it up, but you're right there.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
the little things that build up. Someone will take advantage of someone else, or the janitor will clean it, or it's just a little thing here. The water's running, so what?
Like all those people pushing you around your whole life, and then all of a sudden your house gets broke into, and yeah, he gets it, and then your burglar gets all that aggression,
Man,
and now you're booked for murder.
right.
That kind of writing. Who's the hero and who's the villain? It's a very gray area right now.
Right. And starting to look at chat again. Hey, Parrot Head Kronos, Lady Mist. Yeah, she came in. Wonderful evening.
It's a great evening. A lot of usual suspects are here.
Yeah. So what else you want to discuss? Tropes. Doesn't have to be people. Or what was the other thing that you had on there? Writing gimmicks. What do you mean by writing gimmicks?
Well, that's what the next one was. I've always liked this one. Chekhov's gun. Are you familiar with Chekhov's gun?
No.
Okay.
Here's the thing with me and Star Wars and Star Trek, and I've only recently been talking about Star Wars again, and that's just today. I distanced myself from them. Not that I don't like them, but it's just there's so much good and bad and crap and everything going on and so much talk of them. I really don't want a cloy of them, so I've been avoiding them. Channels, everything.
Okay. I got a perfect example of Chekhov's gun, the way I had it explained to me. There's a guy goes into a bar, sees a shotgun on the back of the back behind all the bottles. And the bartender doesn't use that shotgun in the scene or the next scene. That wouldn't be Chekhov's gun. It's usually, if the way Chekhov's gun works is if you introduce a weapon, if you describe or introduce a weapon into the scene in like a book or a story, it has to be used in that scene or in the next chapter.
I heard somebody else talking about that principle. I didn't gather the Chekhov's gun. Maybe I came to it too late. But yeah, don't introduce something unless you're going to use it. Except I did. With Big.
It just seems
in my book. I did do that.
And then if you don't, it just becomes a useless prop.
Yeah, well, he didn't use it in the first book. You guys don't even know everything about that ship yet.
No.
Lady Miss does. She went through my stuff, but
maybe
I knew that in my mind that, hey, wait, I threw this breadcrumb out there.
Yeah, you threw it,
and I didn't use it.
I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, no, I knew I did that, and it's like, yeah, it's okay. It's got a purpose coming up. We'll save it.
Yeah, I knew it had something because you told me. But
Storm. Yep.
Yeah, there's a little insight if you guys are into his books. That we just gave away something, but a little crumb for all of you who reads Adega's books. We're not going to say any more, though.
Well, now I'm going to have to go back.
Now you're going to have to go back and read them all.
Well, it's if you want to go right, to where it's at, it's when May, because Big is organic. He has human DNA as part of his electrical systems, his neurological makeup. It's biological ship, and that biology comes from human, and human is the only thing that's susceptible to Tillich, and May gives him a bit of it. That's where you'll see where things change.
Only it sounds a lot like Moya from Farscape. Only it's human DNA and
Yeah, the thing about Moya is she was sentient all along, where Big wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, there's the
He only got
there's
that
the
way
problem.
when he got hit with DT, a part of DT when it was trying to save itself. It's just enough.
I know Lady Mist went through all of your stuff.
Oh, Lady Mist is an angel.
Oh, Parrot had such put a definition to check off gun in my Discord. I'm gonna check that out. Is it in general? At least that's the way I've had it explained to me.
Well, I don't. That's a general rule, but I never had a problem breaking rules, so long as it made sense. And it, there were several other writers, and you guys will know them, where they give you breadcrumbs and they leave you hanging.
I love that.
Not to necessarily frustrate you as much as it is draw you in for further revelations later on. And I try and write that way. The end of almost every single chapter, I try and leave it with something anticipated for the future. I can't end a chapter and have it end unless it's the end of the book. And even with the epilogues, there's always something more. It opens up another door. I've always done that.
I've always done that with my poetry. I just kind
of. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting with poetry.
Yeah, I love it. My thing is switching from poetry to trying my hand at the short stories. I'm finding that kind of difficult because I write so short because I have ADD and I can't. My attention span isn't that long, and so I figure that short and sweet and to the point, but always leave it kind of open to let the reader decide in their mind, wow, okay, well, this could play out this way or this could play out that way. So that's what I love about your chapters too, because I'm just like, oh, okay, I gotta listen to the next one and the next one and the next one. And you drag your readers in. I was just saying this on my live stream earlier to Jens. I'm like, I'm Adega's #1 fan, but not like Misery. We joke around about that, but it's true because you do. And I'd be listening because I have a problem with my eyesight right now. So I would listen and I would like picture in my mind how you're describing stuff. And I would like look over and you would have a picture and it would be like verbatim almost to what I had pictured in my mind. And for a writer to do that is to me like, whoa.
Well, thank you.
So, yeah, and I want to pattern myself. I mean, like you really inspire me. You really do. And I love how you give like editing advice and how you're like up here tonight sharing your stuff with everybody. Not a lot of writers will do that. They're like, oh well, that's my thing, and appreciate that. I just wanted to let you know how much gratitude, Adega, for that.
That's quite all right. Thank you. Something that, and this is, I think, has influenced the way I write, and I know some of the blind community really appreciate it. I've been told by them that, there's certain aspects, since, blind or deaf or what have you, their senses don't work the way as everybody else does. So if you're a visual person and all you do is write visually, it leaves them out, and it's no interest. And I remember working professionally, I learned early on that when you're talking to people, you can find out what a kind of person you can communicate with easiest. Because if you're going to tell them they have a problem with their health, and they're an auditory, and yet you're describing things on the x-ray, showing this, showing that, showing that, it's not sinking in. It's not that they're dumb. It's just that their brain processes the information different. They want to hear, they don't want to see. Or someone is emotionally based. You can tell them all you want, you can show them all they want, but until they feel it, it doesn't set in. And like I said, it's not because they're dumb, it's just the way they perceive the world. And so when I started communicating in the office with people, the way I was able to get success was when I explained things to them, I tried to hit all of them. The emotional part, the visual part, the auditory part, until I knew how they learned best. And then I presented everything that matched them. Someone came in where they were emotional. I always express things with emotions. They understood, and I didn't have to explain it over and over and over again. Saved me a lot of trouble, helped them understand. Things went really well. So when I started writing, I figured, why don't I do the same thing in writing? Because I've heard stories where people, some like them, some don't. Well, maybe it's the same thing. You'll find when I write, at least I try. I sometimes get carried away and don't always do it, but I'll express things as visual. There will probably be something with smell or sound, how they feel. I try and put in all of the emotions in almost every scene, or at least a few of them. That way, whoever's reading it, doesn't matter who they are going to be able to pick something out of it that will hook them. And I'm not trying to get people to read. It's never been my intention. My intention is trying to express an idea. And if they like it, great. If they don't. So if I can paint the picture with sound, with vision, I just said paint the picture, the visual people pick right up onto it. Or if they can, be in the situation, how they understand it, grasps them through the way I've written it down, then I feel I've been successful. You'll find a lot of the people that have really good abilities at doing that kind of do the same way. When it comes to, you'll find fantasy books tend to be really big, and I'm of part of the opinion that the reason why they're so big is these doctors, I have no idea what the Deus Ex Machina trope is.
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, Deus Ex. No, I have no idea.
Me neither.
What is it?
Oh crap! I even forget that one.
Look at that.
Parrothead's so smart. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with him.
I know, right?
And
But I don't know. You're gonna have to explain it. But if it was a movie, I didn't see it. I've seen Ghost in the Machine. Ghost in the Machine. I know, but the other one, I don't know if it's actual Ghost in the Machine. I know that story, but Deus Ex, I don't. If it's something different. The anime one, I know. At least parts of it. I've seen some of the series. I've seen the movie, the anime movie. I never watched the Americanized version. I didn't think it would be worth my time. Good anime only comes out of Japan. Well, anime, period, only comes out of Japan. Everything else is weak imitation, in my opinion.
all right. Deus Ex Machina. An unexpected power or event saving a seemingly hopeless situation, especially as contrived plot device in a play or novel?
Do I do that? Kinda. I don't ever do anything without having some foreshadowing of it happening. There's always foreshadowing. There's nothing that comes completely out of the blue. Pretty much, yeah. I don't like that when there isn't any prep. All of a sudden, whoa! Someone's got this magical power, and we didn't even know there was magic in this universe. Uh, Wait, look, she's lifting all the rocks out of the exit so everyone can get away from the Empire. No, there has to be some type of foreshadowing.
Well, yeah. I can't even think of a proper example for that right now.
Well, I don't know of a good one. I know of bad ones. Like I said, Ray was full of bad ones. Look, I can wield a lightsaber. Never been trained. Look, I can fix the Millennium Falcon. I just pulled apart.
Well, I can understand that because she's a scavenger. She's bound to have seen a lot of ships like that in her time as a scavenger. So she probably knows the inner workings of a lot of ships because she has to know where to pull the parts from.
Yeah, but Han Solo had that ship for 30 years.
Yeah, but you don't think there was some other version of that same Carillion freighter?
To me, you may be right. There's no right or wrong on this one, but in my book, I thought that was pretty stupid.
Now, I thought that part was actually kind of logical. That she knows where everything is because she scavenged all these ships before.
Right. No, I understand.
She spent her life scavenging. I mean,
I understand.
Holy crap! I'm defending Ray.
Yes, you are.
I'm gonna smack you.
I want to hear the pan upside his head.
I'm just saying that part I actually found believable. Now the whole flying the damn thing, no.
It's funny.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, I'm apologizing to Lady Kagope. She's the one that maybe we should. Yeah, we're all wearing headphones here, so it's like.
What was that?
She
Am I?
Don't talk so loud. Mom is asleep.
My mom's been gone for a while.
Me too.
Whoa! I just turned up my zoom just to see that definition, and now I got it up to like 250%. Jeez.
My eyes, no.
All right, now it's back to normal. How many more did you put in there? Now I gotta boost it back up just to get this red. Zoom.
Be careful where you click.
Some of those things that you get into, we don't want to see.
Right?
No, it's just okay. Parrothead loads these things from a cell phone, and then when it appears on your PC screen, it's really really, really small.
I'm scared to touch
Games,
my
Mario, and comics are us.
I can't
Yeah, he's
read
funny.
I can't read mouse English.
Can't read mouse English.
Yeah, it's like
better
English
spell
so
for mouse.
small that it's got to be read by a mouse. You know, mouse
Yeah.
English.
Yeah, of course I know mouse English. Not. So, what other
who
advice
did a
do you give a new writer?
I wasn't given new writer advice. We were talking tropes and gimmicks.
I thought I'd switch it up. There was almost dead silence. I don't like dead silence.
A
Oh,
lot of that.
I don't know if I'm one to really give advice, you know? I, and you know this, I didn't anticipate that I was actually going to be someone that people liked when I started writing. So in some ways it's still a little unreal, but you know, I got 2 jobs now for writing. So apparently people like what I do. So other than making sure that you're speaking to everybody by making sure when you write it touches the different senses, sight, sound, smell, catches the emotional, catches the auditory, you know, those type of things. Think of the 3: visual, mental, and emotional.
There we
If you
go.
can, if you could touch on all those, then you're doing pretty good.
like
Latin
that.
phrase meaning the god of the machine, a phrase that originated in Greek tragedies. An actor playing the god would be lowered down via
Platform.
and solve the character's issues, resulting in a happy ending. Oh, yeah, no. It all has to, for me, that doesn't make sense unless it's in the real world where God really comes and does something. But when writing a story, I can't. It just me personally, there has to be some reason for it. When I put in technology in the sci-fi, there has to be in my mind, and I'll share parts of it, but there has to be in my mind to where if someone asks me, well, how's this work? I can explain it. This is the science that we know. This is how it would work within the science that we know, or a potential science that could develop. When it's in fantasy, well, how come this person can't do this and it can do this? Well, this is why. These are the rules. And when the situation comes to where there is a dramatic change or a dramatic need or a harrowing experience, the conclusion of it has to be something that somewhere in the back of the mind, I left enough breadcrumbs into the people that it will make sense. It isn't something out of the blue. Whoa, okay, you have religion in this book now, and God showed up, or somewhere along the line you had this miracle cure and we didn't know about, or this person has this super fantastic gun that you never mentioned and it blew away the enemies. I can't do that. There's no way.
Right, because it doesn't make sense.
Nah.
Kronos makes a good point.
Cronus makes a point.
I don't know where you guys see that. Definitely not my type.
I mean, she wasn't ugly.
Well, maybe I'm getting old. She looks like she should be 14, and I can't see. It just, there's nothing there for me. You know, if you took the makeup off, put a boy's haircut on, and put gym shoes on, could you tell the difference between her and a boy in high school? If you can't,
Probably not.
I'm not at all attracted, and that's just all the way. It's always been that way. They look like a teenage boy.
Yeah, I don't know if I can handle that either. What's that I've seen it on T-shirts, and I like them. I like them nerdy and curvy, something like that.
I don't know.
I've also seen shirts like this: Jedi on the streets, Sith in the sheets. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't claim to be an expert, and I appreciate you asking, but I think if you're able to express what you have in your mind or in your heart in multiple ways in as few as words as possible, then you'll get it. And in order to do it in as few as words as possible, I think having a good thesaurus with you is helpful, or a command of the language, more than the average vocabulary, so you can pull enough use of various different types of words to where the image that you're putting across, or the emotion that you're expressing. So here goes another train. Can you hear it?
Yeah, sounds like my old house, like in my old hometown.
It's not even that close either. It's off in the distance. I just have a good mic.
We run around, I think, 10, 12, and 3 o'clock in the morning where I used to live.
Yeah, it's where I was before we moved in outside of Detroit in a town called Livonia. There was a constant buzz from the freeway, which was really irritating. We did have trains for the auto industry where they're moving freight, especially at 1 o'clock in the morning, and just noisy people all around. It was just a big city. You got hundreds of thousands of people in one town, and then you got millions in all the surrounding suburbia. You move out here, a train is nothing.
Yeah. Get it out in the, well, I lived in a like little suburb, like almost border of the suburb, basically.
Well, this is the sticks, basically.
It's almost sticks. I was like 4 houses away from what's considered sticks.
This is one of those rural routes where you're traveling along. There's nothing but farm here, farm there, and you'll see one sign that says, "Stop here for free wine and cheese," and that's it.
Yeah.
1,900 people.
Wow.
You blink and you're on the other side.
That's about like where I grew up. It's like, well, not that small, but I think it was later William Jackson.
Hey, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for popping it.
He follows my stuff too. Nice
Yeah.
guy.
He's a good dude. Well, it's fun having you.
Oh, is time up already?
Well, I was trying to. Well, we went over a good hour.
Yeah.
I figured we could went a little off the rails, but yeah, I think it was kind of fun.
I think I got one last thing. If I have a gimmick to convey that's more important than anything that I found out, because like I said, I've been in all these different writing circles now, and I hear these people. You've probably seen a few of them where they do these sprints. They talk about books, and they put a timer up, and then you got to write for so many minutes, and then they talk about it. And there's dozens of them all around the YouTube with hundreds of people all over the place, thousands really. And they're all talking about how you write this and how you write that and this and that and that. And then I hear of people where they have sensitivity readers to make sure that they read for sensitivity, make sure everything's fit. Best advice I can give, screw it all. Write what you want to write. Film what you want to film. Make the music you want to dance to.
Make the stuff that I want to read.
It doesn't matter. If you're happy with it, that's all that matters. Everything else can just...
Or you want to read. Or
it's all opinions. It's just opinions. And we all know what opinions are.
yeah. My dad always said, I don't care.
Opinions are like butts.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Some are bigger than others.
And my direct to it is, and they all stink.
And they all stink. I've never heard that last line, but that's good.
That's mine. Good. Opinions are like butts, and they all stink. I came up with that when I was traveling across country on the one and only time I took a Greyhound. And I was on there for 15 hours, I think. Stopped at one bus stop.
Man, after that many hours, you'd probably smell like butt.
Exactly. People walk by to go to the bathroom or this or that and the other on the train, going to visit with someone up front or get some, a book or what have you. And they're walking by and I'm sitting in the aisle and the aisle smelled like butts after a while.
D just got a good one. And Kronos is like,
He got me.
His asthma has set in. You did it.
All right.
Oh, but just remember that opinions are like butts and they all stink. So do what you want to do. Like I said, dance to your own music.
Yep. You're your own drummer. Dance to the beat of your own dang drum.
Yep. Well, thanks for having me on. This was fun.
Yeah. This was actually quite interesting. And did we get V-Star's link out in the chat too?
I don't know. Yeah. Lady Miss just put it out.
Oh. And we actually started a GoFundMe campaign to try to help get V-Star home, get her some money so we can get her home.
All right.
I don't need that much, so I have to redo it.
Do you have the link?
Yeah, but I don't need that much, so I have to redo it.
Because right now she's kind of stuck here in wild, wonderful West Virginia. No.
I'm
just she's trying to make me sound bad and all kinds of crap. Listen to this.
Trying to make me sound bad.
I could hear the subliminal messages coming from V. She's being abused.
Oh no. Being so abused, I tell you.
I know. They've been so good to me. So good to me. I just can't thank them enough. Seriously.
I think I've done more work around this house with her here than ever.
And Lady Kagomo says, hi, finally after an hour. Hi, Lady Kagomo.
Yep, Lady Kagome.
Kagome. Does she have a channel?
No, I don't think so. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, I have a
Lady
YouTube
Kagome?
channel.
No, not exactly all people have a YouTube channel. A lot of people are just watchers and not creators.
I'm going to have a busy day tomorrow, so I'm going to disappear in a few minutes. I'm going to have a busy night. I am way behind.
Oh, no.
It sounds annoying. Oh, yeah. Workers, it does sound annoying. But you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
Well, everyone, stay stay awesome, stay safe wherever you are in this wonderful world of ours. Have a great old one. Darth Haster and everybody out.